Hi, Happy New Year 2015. I guess we're going to start the year with, it's a pretty basic mechanics and techniques video that's going to be about designing in foam, but with an armature that helps create stability in the design. And so I'm going to start out with a ceramic container that's not too terribly deep. And I have foamed it with wet foam and filled it with water. But the foam is well below the lip of the container. That's sort of the key, because on top of that, I am going to actually cover it with river rock, the black river rock, so that we can make it look as if it's the bottom of a riverbed. And so really what it would appear to be is that the flowers are designed into the riverbed rather than into foam covered with rocks. It's that sort of the impression that we're trying to create. So we're going to do this first and cover it so that we can see what the sort of appearance of the surface is. It's a very nice black container with the black stones, so when you fill it with water, it looks sort of deep, like water in a creek. So we're going to start out with that. So into this riverbed with the water, rocks, and then foam underneath, I'm going to actually build my armature that's going to hold the flowers into this design. I'm using Cresspedia as the main component for armature because it's really one of the most popular flowers for the new young generation. They just love these flowers. So I thought I would use this to lure their interest into flowers. I'm actually taking an 18 gauge wire and piercing through it, particularly in this one, in an angle, but they are done randomly. I did a whole bunch of them so that I can use them to start building this armature. Basically what I'm going to do is insert these already cut pieces with the middle lino in them and just insert it randomly without being too conscious about exactly what the placements are. Let them sort of meet one into the other randomly. It's all about just let it happen naturally. So I'm not trying to be contrived that it has to be a certain way. I think that's the whole key to the success of some of this kind of work, is to be playful and allow things to just become what it becomes. So this is just like kids playing with Tinker Toys. That's really what the whole exercise is all about here. And this just creates an interesting sort of structure that sort of are very playful. It plays with rhythm and repetition, which are very important principles of design. I'm just going to use, I think there's sort of upwards of about 25 or 30 pieces in the Cresspedia in this, so that it's inserted into the foam through the black stones, the black river rock, so that it does have an anchor and it has a water source underneath. Even though Cresspedia does hold up very well without water, in this case we want to make it so that it does drink water. What I've also done is I've got pieces of just bullion, just a very fine bullion, just one layer. And what I'm going to do is just twist it around few of these. Not every tie has to be made at every juncture. I'm just going to do it in just a few spots so that there's no looseness about this structure. What I'm going to do is just tie in a few spots only, and so that they stay together and they're not too bouncy. And especially spots where the middle lino is crossing over the stems of Cresspedia. That's the area that I kind of like to see it tied together so that it helps keep this armature to stay together really, really nicely. And I'm going to just tie in various layers. This is like a little puzzle. And really, after all, armature is a structure, basically, through which flowers will thread itself so that it stays together in such a way so that it doesn't come apart. It gives it structure and strength. I'm going to clip off the little excess wires. Mechanics needs to be clean. So We'll just clip some of these excess. The use of these Craspedia branches or the stems allows us to sort of tuck some of the stems or the foliages inside, in between, I should say. And let's insert another one right in through there. Again, have the ability to insert some of the flowers so that it's held in between, sort of pinched in between the Craspedia, the Middlino, and the Craspedia stems. And you can see that this way, there's that sort of playful flow from one to the other. The tulips are looking very springy amongst the field of Craspedia, but it's being held by the armature that's been created with a combination of the material here. Now this now allows for the final finish to this, which is the use of lily grass or liriope. This is where the use of these structures really come in handy, in that we can tuck this into water and then flow it through the structure, the armature. It's very, very easy to work with this to make it flow through the whole structure so that it stays together and it stays in place. It's sort of the beauty of armature in the first place, is that it allows for the placement of material where it stays in place and it doesn't budge, it doesn't move. So now that we've got the lily grass in there, it's all about the finish, and the finish is to just get the water in this container so that it really is like a riverbed. The use of the armature allows us to create a very transparent design that allows for the earth line or the surface of the foam and stone to be seen, so that it's not overcrowded with just a mass of flowers sitting on top of foam. This kind of transparency is such a natural feel that you can see the water as sustenance for flowers. And this is one of the things that I really love about what I call a transparent design, is that you can see through, there's room to breathe, there's air, and the lines are so evident, the flow is beautiful. The contrast of colors, the contrast of form is all very visible, all the elements and principles of design. The parrot tulips are such an indication of beautiful textures. I'm just reading a book called The Tulips about the tulip mania back in 1500s and 1600s, and how tulips were a currency at one time. It was a collectible. And these tulips certainly reminds me of some of the beautiful tulips that I've been reading about, that is so very special in the months in the springtime.